Well, what's going on with this defense? Most likely, most importantly, why aren't we getting any sacks? Pause. Not pause. Tackle the quarterback. What is up, Fin fans? Hope you guys are having a fantastic Saturday. Got some college football. Hey, at least the Hurricanes are doing fantastic. I think they're, what, 5th ranked right now? They were 6th ranked. Playing well. Cam Ward doing fantastic. But yeah, we got a game tomorrow. Taking on the Buffalo Bills. I will be here live, 1 o'clock, with my father, crying together, holding each other. Let me go off on a little bit of a tangent real quick, because you've been following me for a hot minute. I've picked up or took this moniker. I'd rather be surprised than let down. And for most of the season, I've been let down because, my God, has it been a surprise. But going into this Bill game, my expectation is like rock bottom. Like, here's normal expectation. Here's low expectation. I'm like down. You don't even see it anymore. I'm below the camera. So I'm going to this game expecting the worst. Like, I'm talking the worst. I'm talking 2020 on the road, week 17 at Buffalo. Halftime game was over. The worst. That's what I'm expecting going into this game tomorrow. But that's not what this game is about. That's not what this video is about. This video is about why are we not producing sacks. I watched the New York Jets just completely dismantle the Houston Texans offense. Yes, they were missing some important pieces to their offense, and Stephon Diggs and their other, their top 2 wide receivers. But that defensive front got 9 sacks. Like, that was why they won that game. If I'm being all honest with you, that is why they beat the Houston Texans. Because if not, the Texans would have scored, would have took it over, and the Jets would have had to come from behind and would have been a horse of a different color. So we're going to kind of look at that and give you a little more of an injury update, tell you who's out and all that stuff. But before we jump into all that stuff, I have to shout out today's sponsor. That is Clean the World. I'm wearing their shirt. Wash your hands, bro. If you know, and again, you've been following me for a hot minute. My friend, Sean Seipler, we became friends through this fantastic endeavor that I've taken upon for the past 6 years. Has a very, very awesome company organization that he put together. And normally I talk about it. Normally I come on here and I'm like, hey, this and that. But I want you to look at what they do, right? This is their website, cleantheworld.org, right? They got the soap on here that I've talked about time and time again, how they repurpose it, get it out to people. Hotels generate extremely large volumes of solid waste. A waste reduction program with soap and bottled amenity recycling can protect the environment, preserve natural resources, and reduce cost. He does great things. Again, recycling, all of that, helps hotels guide to sustainable resources. He also has shower station programs. He puts together events. He helps manage your waste. He's all over the world. He helps people in third world countries, natural disasters. Hey, I'm wearing that shirt. All these good things Sean does. So go check him out. Look up what he does. Just go through the site. And again, if you want one of these shirts, you can grab one. They're really soft. I love them. So, Sean, thank you so much for sponsoring this video. You do some great work and you help people if need, and that is something I admire. So, let's jump into this Mamma Jam, kind of go over the injury updates, and we'll kind of get into the meat and potatoes of what the whole thing's about. So the Dolphins' final injury report reflects what McDaniel shared in his Friday morning news press conference. Essentially, the defensive lineman Zach Steele with a fractured orbital bone, Kader Kohu with the neck injury, tight end Julian Hill with the shoulder injury are out Sunday, and Javon Holland is doubtful with a knee injury. So again, those 4 guys are not playing, so we're not going to have Sealer again. Julian Hill, one popped up that probably hurt his shoulder on the fumble that he had. Kader Kohu has been in and out, so Storm Duck seems to be okay to go. And then Javon Holland, broken bone in his hand. He was fine. He played the game. He hurt his knee. He came out. Now he's not expected to be hurt to play. The man cannot stay healthy. It really sucks because he's like has a high ceiling, great safety, but the man just can't stay healthy. Meanwhile, Alec Ingold, Storm Duck, and River Craycraft are listed as questionable, but McDaniel says he expects Ingold will play, and Craycraft likely won't be activated from injury reserve until next week. We don't really need him, especially with Washington doing some fantastic stuff as our receiver 3, and we have Odell, who... Receiver Tyreek Hill is expected to continue to play through foot injury. Coach McDaniel said he practiced fully Friday and doesn't have any injury destination for the game. Outside linebacker Mania Ogba said he will continue to play despite a tear in his bicep. Fantastic. Buffalo listed Amari Cooper and Curtis Samuel and cornerback Christian Benford as questionable for Sunday's game. I would be shocked if they don't play. So again, overall, 4 guys are out. You're not going to get Craycraft. He's not going to be activated off of IR. Storm Duck might play. Alec Ingold will play. And everything else, everyone else is healthy and will play. So there's your injury update going into tomorrow's game. Now let's talk about, and again, Barry Jackson came out with this article saying, examining how Robinson edge players drafted after him are doing in Dolphins injury news. Now that was couple days ago, so I just gave you the injury update. When the Dolphins drafted Cam Robinson in April, the question whether the tantalizing athletic skills and his ability to apply pressure on the quarterback at Penn State would translate into a high volume of sacks and consistent production. So far, the answer are neither encouraging nor crushing. Robinson doesn't have a sack through 7 NFL games, but his pressure rate, 11 pressures on 104 pass rushing snaps, isn't bad. His pressure success win percentage is 33 of 84 edge players who have rushed the quarterback at least 100 times this season. But there's the glass half empty way of looking at it. There are 83 pass rush edge players who have rushed the quarterback at least 100 times in 2024. Among those 83, Robinson is one of only 4 who does not have a sack. The other is Cam Jordan, Atlanta's Arnold, I'm not even going to try to pronounce his name, and Cincinnati's Joseph Asai, like what you get in a bowl. Since Jalen Phillips went down with an ACL injury against Tennessee, Robinson has rushed the quarterback 63 times and has 6 pressures to show for it. PFF rated him Miami's second worst player in Sunday's loss in Arizona. The man cannot stop falling. I showed you in the film breakdown. Go check it out. It's the getting his first sack concern hanging over his head. Of course, I would like to get it, he said. I know eventually it will come. Keep rushing. Last year, the defensive rookie of the year took until week 10 to get a sack. Is that true? Did last year's defensive rookie of the year take until week 10 to get a sack? Houston's Will Anderson, who won the award, actually had a sack in the opener, but then went 6 straight games without one before finishing with 7. Overall, PFF ranks Robinson 84 among 104 edge rushers this season. I'm definitely progressing, he said. So could the Dolphins have drafted a better pass rusher in the first 3 rounds? Only 7 linebackers or defensive ends were drafted between Miami's selection of Robinson at 21 and the end of round 3, pick 100. Of those 7, Denver's Jonah Ellis has outperformed Robinson. Ellis has 2 sacks, 3 tackles for a loss, 17 tackles in 8 games, and 213 snaps from the Broncos. By contrast, Robinson has 10 tackles, including 2 for a loss, and no sacks and 205 direct defensive snaps. Ellis was drafted 76, 55 spots after Robinson. Nobody projected Ellis as a first-round pick. But Ellis and Robinson comparison is the classic case of production versus projection. Robinson was universally considered the better prospect because of superior athletic traits. Ellis was far more productive last season with 12 sacks, 37 tackles, and 13 tackles for loss at Utah. Robinson conversely had only 4 sacks, 15 tackles, and 8 for loss at Penn State last year. Dolphins general manager Chris Grier said the Dolphins value pressure as much as sacks. I'm not shaking my head at what he said necessarily. I'm just shaking my head at Chris Grier again saying things that are just... I'll read it one more time because I'll just continue going through. I just can't stand him anymore. I'm sorry. If you're a Chris Greer fan, or Chris Greer, if you're watching this, I know ill will towards you, but it's 9 years of you saying these things. It's 9 years of us sitting back, hoping and praying you draft the right player, bring in the right free agent, make the contracts right, re-sign the right guys, don't re-sign the wrong guys, all these things. And it's just 9 years of us making it to the playoffs and losing. Dolphins general manager Chris Greer has said the Dolphins value pressure as much as sacks. Stupid. And wasn't concerned that Robinson had only 2 sacks last season against Power 5, Iowa, and Rutgers. But Miami, with only 9 sacks in 7 games, need more than pressures, especially with Phillips out for the season. Bradley Chubb's not close to returning from his ACL sustained last December. Excluding Ellis, the 6 other edge rushers selected after Robinson during the first 2 days of the draft haven't done any more than Robinson, or in some cases as much. So essentially, you got Arizona's Darius Robinson, Dallas's Marshawn Nealand. You have Tampa Bay's Chris Braswell. You have Atlanta's Breland Trice, Baltimore's Adaius Isaac, and Philadelphia's Jalix Hunt. All of these guys haven't done as well, or have done as well as Chop. 2 players selected immediately after Robinson have had much better. Philadelphia corner 22nd overall pick Quinnen Mitchell has started every game, 79.8 passer rating and coverage. And Jacksonville's receiver 23rd pick Brian Thompson Jr. Thomas Doug, who has 33 catches for 573 yards and 5 touchdowns before sustaining a rib injury on Sunday against Green Bay. So overall, I'm assuming what Barry's trying to get at, right, is it takes a hot minute, and I'm not disagreeing with that at all. And I said the same thing about Jalen Phillips. I'm a huge Jalen Phillips fan. I think if Jalen Phillips can stay healthy, he could be something very good for Miami. The thing is, he just can't stay healthy. It's at the point now where he had the concussions that he retired from UCLA, and then he went to Miami. Then we had the injury bug with him his freshman year, even though he got 8.5 sacks. And then we had the Achilles injury, and now we have the ACL injury. And now the Achilles and the ACL injury are not connected, even though some people are like, we're rushing them back. We didn't rush them back. The ACL injury is because Jordan Poyer is a horrible safety and needs to retire, and he shot at Phillips' knee and took him out. But looking at Chop, it's rare. I wouldn't say it's rare. You can tell me if I'm wrong. For a pass rusher to come in and instantly like blow it away. 12 sacks, 13 sacks, his first year. And I'm not ready to be like, he's a bust, move on from him, this and that, because again, it's 1 year. People that call draft picks busts after 1 year is just funny to me. He's a bust. He sucks. Like, it's 1 year. Relax. But I look at somebody, and again, like I said, Jalen Phillips, if that man could just stay healthy, I think he has double-digit sacks every year, because again, he had 8.5 his rookie year, and then I think he had 7 before he got hurt against the Jets. Like, he's consistently on pace for having like 12 sacks a year. But he keeps having setbacks. He has the speed, the athleticism, it's all that stuff. He just can't get out his own way. We have him next year under his 5th-year option, but outside of that, he's got to prove he could stay healthy. But you guys know I'm a Jalen Phillips stan. Everyone likes to be like, you defend Tua too much. No, I really love Jalen Phillips. But I look at someone like Jason Taylor, drafted in 1997. Now, he wasn't a first-round pick. Jason Taylor was the 49th overall pick. So he was a second rounder. He had 5 sacks his first year. He had 9 sacks his second year. So it's like, whoa. And then he had 2.5 sacks his third year. But then that's when Jason Taylor became Jason Taylor. 14.5, 8.5, 18.5, 13. He just consistently got better and better. So it takes a hot minute for them to kind of get into a groove and then really take off. But here's my thing about this team. Here's my thing about this pass rush and kind of what's going on. We went into this this is Chris Greer's fault. Like, I'm just going to, I'm going to cut it off, tell you the thing, and then I'm going to explain why. It's Chris Greer's fault. We went into this season with Shaquille Barrett. Went to the season with Shaquille Barrett, who retired. Like before even training camp, he was like, I can't do it. And supposedly they knew about it. And you had Yannick Ngakoue out there. You had Jadeveon Clowney out there. You had other guys out there that were possibilities. And I wanted Yannick Ngakoue when they got Calais Campbell. I was like, oh, you got to 2-for. You got to get somebody else. We don't know what Jalen Phillips is going to look like. We don't know what Bradley Chubb is going to look like. We don't know about all of these things. You have to double up. You know, yes, we drafted Mo Kamara. Yes, we drafted Chop Robinson, but you don't know. Go out there, get someone that shows you they can do it. And the Dolphins laughed at me. Essentially, they didn't. They don't watch me. It's the same thing I did with the safeties, right? We brought in Jordan Poyer, which I was like, hey, for $2 million, that's not bad. Now I'm sitting back and I'm like, that's bad. We had Javon Holland. We only had 2 safeties for like a good portion of the offseason, and then they bring in Marcus May when Justin Simmons was sitting out there, and there was other potential safeties sitting out there that they could have brought in, and I wanted them to bring in. And again, they know more better than me. I'm just a schmo in New Jersey that is just a fan of football. And look at where we're at now. We need safety help. All of these things that are a problem with this team are things that, again, I just want to reiterate something, because somebody left a comment on my film breakdown video saying, I hate when you talk with such something such authoritative, or I know better than anyone. I say this time and time again on this channel. I'm a huge Miami Dolphins fan. I did play the sport. I study the sport, and even now, even before the channel started, I study the sport. I'm nobody though. I am states away from Florida. I just have a degree, and I have a vast knowledge of football. Whether you think it's good or not, that's just it. I don't know nearly as much as these guys, but yet I sit back, and every offseason I look at this team. I look at the potential free agents. I look at the cap space. I look at what these players could get. And I talk about, this is where the team needs to address the problems. And I raffle off a list of players, right? And I always look at their contracts, because I'm like, hey, we might be strapped for cash, or this or that. And I raffle off a list of players. And every year, when I raffle off the list of players, or I raffle off the positions that we need, they either don't get addressed, or they get addressed half-assed. And then when we're at this point in the season, they're the problems. And I hate that it happens, because I'm like, you sit there and you're like, well, I hate being right in this instance. Because again, I was like, we need to address the safety situation. You know, we have 2 safeties right now. One of them is Jordan Poyer. The other one's Javon Holland. We don't know what his 2 MCLs are doing. Jordan Poyer's old. You know, we might have Nick Needham coming in and, doing this or that, but we need to address the safety issues. And I talked about that, and people were pushing back like, hey, why would you replace Javon Holland? Never said to replace Javon Holland. We need more depth at the safety, and And I kept saying it. I kept getting pushback. And now look at where we're sitting right now. We need help at the safety position. Same thing with pass rusher. We should go out and get Yannick. We should go out and get Javon. We should go out and get Jadeveon Clowney. We should go out and get so-and-so and so-and-so or so-and-so. Why would you go out and get a pass rusher, Doug? We have Mo Kamara. We have Chop Robinson. We have Jalen Phillips. And we have Bradley Chubb. We are fine, Doug. Well, Bradley Chubb has an ACL plus, as Mike McDaniel liked to say. Phillips is gone for the year because, again, Jordan Poyer, and these 2 rookies are struggle bus sitting at being productive. That is why you add depth, and that is why I say these things. I'm not saying these things as an instance of replace so and so. I'm saying these things as we have seen this happen time and time and time again. Hell, last season at the end of the year we had no pass rushers. Why? Because we had no depth. Now we're sitting in a situation where we have no pass rushers. We're relying on a rookie. We're relying on Emmanuel Ogbah, who has a tear in his bicep. Outside of those 2 guys, who do we have as pass rushers? We have Bowser. Why isn't he on a team? We have Mo, who isn't active. We have no pass rushers. And that is the problem. Chris Greer talks about the fact that, we like pressure as much as we like sacks. Oh, that's fine and dandy. 22.5% pressure rate, which is 18th in the NFL on this team. 9.5 quarterback knockdown, which is 14th, and 9.6 in hurries, which is 8th. That's all fine and dandy, but that pressure rate is middle to low. But we have 9 sacks on the season. Pressure doesn't mean anything if you can't finish it. And that is the problem with the defense. Because now it's starting to bite us in the butt, because now we're starting to face better quarterback play. We got away with it facing inferior quarterback play, but now we're facing better quarterback play. The pressure doesn't matter if the quarterbacks aren't afraid to stay in the pocket and get the ball off. So the problem with the pass rush and the problem with the front seven is we have a bunch of Jags at that position. And if you don't know what Jag stands for, just a guy. Sealer's out. So we're asking Calais Campbell to do a lot for a guy who's, how old is Calais Campbell? He's up there. That man has been playing for a very long time. Calais Campbell is 38. He's been playing for 17 years. We're asking him to be the guy on our defensive line. 7 years. He has 2 sacks on the season. We have 9 altogether, and he has 2 of them. Outside of Calais Campbell right now, when you look at that defensive line that is going to be going up against Buffalo tomorrow, Jags across the board. Deshaun Hand is a Jag. Benito Jones is a Jag. Chop is a first-round draft pick. Emmanuel Ogbah, he's not doing anything. He's playing with a tear in his bicep. Bowser is a Jag. That is where, and the problem with the pass rush. And that, again, falls into what I talk about every offseason with building a championship team, with building a competitive team. You got to focus on the trenches. I've said it, and I'll say it until I'm blue in the face, and I will say every offseason, every draft, every OTA, minicamp, training camp. If the Miami Dolphins can get a top 10, I'll bring it down. If the Miami Dolphins can get a top 15 offense and defensive line, they will win the division and they will win a playoff game. But we're sitting here with a pass rush that can't get it done. Now our offensive line, according to PFF, is ranked like, I think, 15th, 14th, which is fantastic, but our defensive line is not, because we got a bunch of Jags in there. And that is the problem with the pass rush. Chris Grier sat back and thought, Bradley Chubb will be back. We're going to rely on Jalen Phillips, who had a torn Achilles, to be 100% going into the season. We're going to rely on a rookie, and we're going to bring in Emmanuel Ogbah. That should be enough. No. It's stupid. It's incredibly stupid to do. And another instance where I will write down a list of why Chris Grier should be fired. Plain simple. So that is the problem with the defensive line and why we're not getting sacks. It's because we don't have the personnel. We don't have the guys. And if it's because we don't have the money, again, that's Chris Grier's fault. Plain simple. So now we have to go up against Josh Allen with Calais Campbell and a rookie and a bunch of Jags. Good luck. He's going to tear us up. Sorry to sound so negative, but I'm mentally preparing you. So tomorrow in the live stream, everyone's not like, we suck. Yeah, man, we suck. And it's going to suck. It's going to suck until it gets better. So hopefully it gets better. And those are videos that are coming. We got the trade deadline next week, so I got a video Monday. Are we buyers or sellers? I got a lot of content for you, regardless of what our record is. Hey, I was here for 2019. I ain't going nowhere. So I'll see you guys tomorrow, 1 o'clock. Like usual, stay classy. Offense up.